Shalom brothers, this is Kama Kapashin GMS London. So I want to start by saying all praise Jehovah Hashem Yahweh Shai. That was honors unto the prophets of GMS, the apostles, okay? You know, giving all thanks to Jehovah Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. You know, these things coming to its precipice, man. Okay, this is coming to its end real soon, man. Okay, as you can see up here, we've got the news article, what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri at the moment. Okay, because you know what I really want to go into is really, you know, this whole thing between the so-called blacks and the so-called whites, man. All this hatred that is apparent between these so-called races, because I say so-called because, you know, black and white are not really real races, man. They're just colors that the white man has labeled us with. Okay, they're not races, man. Okay, your color has nothing to do with your race. Okay. But you know, what I'm gonna go into is why that hatred between us is there. You know, more so on the so-called white man's part, because he's the one that has all the hate in his heart, man. Okay, but there's a reason for that. Okay, it ain't just because of the color of our skin, man. Okay, as naive and as ignorant as these white people are. You know, as well as these jakes, okay, they're ignorant too. Okay, it goes well beyond all of that. Okay, and you know, I'm just gonna go into the scriptures and that, you know, just to show that, you know, why he hates us so much. Okay, and we have every right to hate the so-called white man. And we have every right. Okay, but you know, understanding why he is the way he is towards us, how he treats us. Okay, like you see in this image, man. You know, busting down the protesters, man, after the shooting, you know, one of their own. Okay, they're the guilty ones, and yet they're still portraying like they're doing something righteous, man, and they're busting down these protesters, man. You know, arresting people just for talking. Okay, not actually doing anything. You know, claiming that certain mans are holding guns and that. You know, well, that's by your say so. I mean, you can say whatever you want because you're a policeman. You know, you automatically have, you know, your so-called automatically telling the truth. Okay, people will take your side. Okay, so you can say what you want. Okay, because you ain't got no proof of that. Okay, you know, trying to justify your actions. Okay, but you know, truth be told, man, you cops, man, you're a bunch of racists, man, and that's just telling the truth. Okay, how you treat Jake, how you've always treated Jake ever since you had us in slavery. But like I said, man, this deep-seated hatred, you know, goes well beyond, you know, the slavery you put us in. It goes well beyond all of that, man. Okay, and the Most High has a problem with you as well. Okay, let's not forget the Most High's role in all this, man. You think you can get away with doing what you're doing to His people, His chosen people? Okay, you think you can get away with doing this because, you know, you think the so-called white man's got it, no one coming to bring you recompense. Okay, but the Most High has had enough. Okay, and your punishment is coming near, man. You know, all these riots and shit, and all these plays that are being spread around right now, all this war. Okay, they're all signs of the Lord coming back. Okay, Yahweh Shai making his return, man. Okay, to bring judgment on the earth. Okay, and all you people out here, you're going to be judged for the crimes that you've committed. Okay, you best believe that. Okay, but we're gonna go into the scriptures, man. Okay, because I'm gonna stay right here. The so-called white man is the biblical nation of Edom. Okay, of the man Esau. Okay, in the scriptures. Okay, that's who you are, man. Okay, and you know, Jacob and Esau, they received blessings, okay? But there's a problem here, because Esau was the firstborn. Okay, so naturally the firstborn would get the blessing, okay, the top blessing, okay? As he was the firstborn, but he didn't receive that blessing because he didn't respect the birthright that he would inherit, okay? And this is why he's pissed off, because Jacob holds that promise. Okay, he holds the top blessing, and it pisses him off in his spirit. Okay, so we're going to go through the scriptures now, and we're just going to show you all that. Okay. Right, we're going to start off in Genesis 25. Verse 31. Okay. I mean, you could read the whole ins and outs of the story and all that, but I'm just going to get to the point, of why it is Esau acts the way he does, why the so-called white man acts the way he does towards this man. Okay. Okay, it reads here, and Jacob said, "Sell me this day thy birthright." And Esau said, "Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me?" Okay, because he was starving. Okay, he was convinced that he was going to die of hunger, of starvation. Okay, he sold his birthright that he would have naturally got being the firstborn. Okay, he was going to give that to Jacob for some food. Okay, from raw meat, to be more precise. Okay, that's what the so-called white man likes. He likes his raw meat. Okay, showing you how faithless the so-called white man really is. Okay, he didn't have no respect of the birthright that he would later inherit. Okay, through Isaac. Okay, he had no respect for that. Okay, but Jacob saw opportunity. Okay, he saw his brother's weakness. Okay, Jacob, the name Jacob means supplanter. Okay, he saw opportunity in the weakness of his brother to gain that birthright, because that birthright is worth more than anything on the planet Earth. Okay, and naturally, a sane man would want that. Okay, so he took his opportunity and exposed his brother's weakness and gained his birthright from him. A done deal is a done deal. There's no reversing after this. After he accepted. Okay. So and Jacob said, "Swear to me this day." Okay, so promise, swear by oath, this day, and he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Okay, he gave it up. He relinquished possession of that promise, that blessing. Okay. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Okay. So at this time, it didn't bother him. It didn't matter to him. He didn't care, right? Because he's carnal, right? He didn't care. Just like now, he's really carnal. Okay, all this spiritual talk is bullshit. He's really a carnal man. Okay, such is the nature of Esau and the rest of these heathen on that point. Okay, so it didn't bother him at this point. He didn't see no benefit. Okay, fair enough. Okay. We're going to jump to Genesis 27. Okay, he ain't angry yet. Okay, he ain't angry. Okay, he's cool right now. He was happy to give it to Jacob. Okay, so cool. Alright, Genesis 27 verse 32. And it reads here, and Isaac his father said unto him, "Who art thou?" And he said, "I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau." Okay, this was Esau. This is later down the line. At the point that Isaac was going to die, was going to pass away from old age, right? And Jacob had already come in and took the birthright that Esau was supposed to inherit. Remembering that he'd given up his birthright to Jacob, so Esau should have no right to be upset. Okay, but he gets upset. Okay, this is why. He said, "Who art thou?" And he said, "I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau." And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, "Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten all of it before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed." So like I said, a done deal is a done deal. Okay, Jacob had already been blessed, and that blessing could not now be taken away from him. Okay, Slacker, 1 second. Okay, alright. So when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried. with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. Okay, but Esau had already given it up. Okay, Esau has no right to cry about it, man. You gave it up long time ago. Okay, verse 36, and he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. Okay, which is the blessing and the birthright is the same thing. Okay, little did he know. Okay, because the birthright of being the firstborn was that he was going to get that blessing. Okay, that larger portion. Okay, that better portion. But he gave that up to Jacob. Okay, and this was all prophecy, because this was said before the 2 were even born yet. The Most High had already chosen Jacob to receive those blessings. Okay, and this is how it played out. This is how Jacob gained position on Esau, because of for Esau's his faithlessness in his carnality. Okay, and he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Okay, so Esau was seeking something, man, but the blessing that he received was never going to compare to Jacob, because Jacob was given all things. Okay, Esau was given a time, okay, which is the time he's currently ruling in right now. Okay, the so-called white man's in power. This is his time of rulership. Okay, also at the point of the Greeks and as the Romans. Okay. It says, verse 37, Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord. Okay, Jacob was made the lord over Esau. Okay, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. What shall I do now unto thee, my son? So Isaac's like, well, what can I do for you? I've already given everything to Jacob. Okay, he's your lord. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So now he's upset. He's upset that he's not going to receive what Jacob's going to receive, that he should have received as the firstborn. He's upset now. Okay, he's being a damn devil because he didn't care about it before. Because he was hungry. Okay, because he was hungry. He didn't care much for it. Okay, but now he hasn't got it and his brother has it. He's upset. Okay, and this is where this deep-seated hatred begins to form. Because he's missed out on something now. Okay. Verse 39, Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. Okay, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Okay, so there was going to be a time where Esau was going to rule over Jacob. Okay, but obviously that was never going to last, because Jacob had already was given dominion over everybody. Okay, so there will be a time. Okay, and that time would last a certain amount of time. Okay, it was never going to be forever. Okay, that's why the so-called white man's time is running out. That's why his kingdom is coming to its end now, because that time is at its end. Okay, he put us into slavery. Okay, he did all that. Okay, he's ruling over us, oppressing us. Okay, for as long as he's in power for. Okay, but that can't remain forever. Okay, because the prophecy continues, man. Okay, and and Jacob has to receive his blessings. Okay, and the prophecy that he's meant to fulfill.